With no gi especially, you have to be so mindful of your legs because closed guard, I have no fabric to really control, so posture is a must. When they start to get strong posture, or even worse, if they start to disconnect in some way, have to retract the legs. This is when I would go to butterfly, or we can start working on some of the leg entanglements that we've been covering in here, going after the legs, but I need to extract. But in this case, I'm using my core, lifting my hips, bringing him in, and just getting control of the head. Just breaking this down. Now what we're gonna do, you're gonna swim one arm through, so you get an underhook on one side. So now I have the head and the arm. From this point, I want you guys to imagine you're gonna attack this arm, but you're not gonna hold the arm. You're gonna put the foot on the hip, start to move your hip to the outside, and you notice it's loose. If my partner doesn't address that, the arm is right here. So what starts to happen here? It's a little misdirection. I'm going here, I start rotating my hip, bring this leg up. When I start to attack his arm, he's gonna pull his arm out. Yeah, see, so let's go back. What happens here is, once I make the angle, yes, this is what happens here. The arm comes out, but now I have a triangle situation. Cross your ankles, pinch the knees together. Now from here, we don't want to unlock the feet. So I'm going to use the leg that's across his shoulder to move my hip to the other side. And how do we accomplish that? I kind of bite down, lift my hip and switch. And you see how the knees bite. Now the leg can just lock and the triangle's in tight. If you hold your partner and you lock onto the elbow, and this is a tall order because he knows it's coming. He's going to keep his elbow back and defend. What we're doing here is I want to control this arm. This is my target, but I want him to think it's this one. And how do we do that? We start to align our hip to that outside arm. See? If he keeps the arm inside the hip, I can throw the leg on the shoulder. I can definitely start going after this arm. But the minute you get that hip up, that's usually going to be the response, what he just did. Keep the ankles crossed and pinch. And now it's the heels biting down, and I use my partner's back as a means of elevating my hip and pinching the knees in. And you see how my hip goes to the outside, and the triangle's locked. A little adjustment and it's finished. This action here, many times we get here and I don't quite have it cinched. Can you do this? Yeah, absolutely. I find that this, you'll notice my ankles are just crossed right now like an X. Watch how the legs just lock when I shift my hip to the outside. We're just going from here. I'm biting down with this leg as a means of moving my hip to the outside. And you see, when I do that, this leg comes across, this one just shoots down. Now I can recenter the hip and finish the choke. Head control. If the elbow's out, I can start moving straight into this. This is going to be kind of the dance. That's why I want to get my foot on his hip and start working my hip to the outside, but I don't give up head or arm control. And because we're in so tight, I have no problem working, bless you, I have no problem working here, but I'd rather just get my hip like this. So yeah, I already have the arm bar, but with no gi, most of the time when they feel it, yeah, that's gonna be just a natural reaction. Now I bite down, move the hip, and there's the adjustment. The adjustment is really, really important, especially with no gi because there's no fabric to get in the way. And you see how I was able to adjust it and lock it without having to unlock my feet in any way. So you start in here, we're gonna get head control. If the arms are like this, you can go this way or this way. I like working the underhook better, but it's up to you guys. But the key is once you get this, you have an arm to control and head control. And I will manage this. If his head stays in my chest, it's gonna be difficult to do much of anything. I don't mind opening up at this point, and the more he fights to get his posture, the more space I have to start working my hip. So be mindful, don't pull them down, hold and allow for the natural extension of your arms. That's the space we need. You won't be able to accomplish anything if you anchor them down to your chest. So you're going to go one over the head, one under the arm, loose but hands locked. We start moving the hip to the outside. I can go over. If his arm stays inside, I'm just working to attack the arm bar. Even if his arm is in here and I get here. But once you're here, ankles crossed, hip to the outside, and lock. Okay? Any questions?
Professor,
Yes.
when you get the game grip on top of them, are you keeping that elbow in towards their neck or shoulder?
Not really. I mean, this is something that's, I don't want to have him feeling like he can't move.
Okay.
Part of this control is when I get in here, like I said, I'm not pulling him in tight because that gives me no space. I need his head up a little bit. See, and I start working my hip. My whole objective here is you got to sell it. If I can get here, there's the arm bar. See? But if he extracts the arm, I have head control. Now I have the triangle. But you want to make sure, again, there's a window here. Once you lock this, if your head and shoulders go flat, he's up. Now it's a fight. So once I lock this, I crunch, and I'm hanging on his back with this leg to move my hip to the outside. Now I can lock the triangle. But this is an exercise for you guys understanding how flexible you need to be with your controls. Too much, you don't give them any room. Too tight, you don't give them any room. Too loose, they get out. It's learning how to toggle that control and exploit the movement. But you're engaging your hip. And this, what's cool about this, like I said, the real target's this arm. But you're making them think it's this arm because of the work of your hips. If they don't respect that, you take the arm. But if that arm gets out of the way, you have the triangle. The whole time you're working from broken posture inside the closed guard, you can't lose. So, any questions? Let's go. 1, 2, 3.